up homeless news, and it looks like that now that Biden's on the way out of the office, we're getting to find out the aftermath of what his presidency really was. We're getting to find out how much did he actually contribute to homelessness. They're talking about anywhere between 33 and 36% increase in homelessness just over his 4-year administration. Now, this is post pandemic. This is him saying, "Look at all these jobs that we have." This is him saying all these great things about the economy. Well, we're coming to find out now that we are about to do an exchange of power that they've been lying to us for the last 4 years. Not only have they been lying to us and cooking the numbers and cooking the books and showing us that reality isn't reality. What's up, Chris? What's up, Occult? Nice to see you guys. So, what I want to do is I found an article out of Williamsport Sun Gazette. It was actually posted today. And I wanted to read a little bit of the article to you, and kind of talk about it a little bit because, the Biden administration, I'm finding out exactly how bad it really was. I mean, everybody was going, "Oh, there's plenty of jobs. There's plenty of jobs." No, 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 there's not jobs. And the worst part of it is how the migrant crisis. What's up, Rails? How the migrant crisis is actually making the homeless situation worse for those that are already homeless. Now, what's up, Platypus? So let me get into this article. It says, in case you missed the pre-holiday news dump, the Department of Housing and Urban Development reported that homelessness this year hit a record. Wow, we're in 2025 or 20, and we're looking at 2024, and we're now saying it's hit a record. We were under the Trump administration. Just remember, under the Trump administration we had so much work. And I remember this because I had a business during this time. There was so much work you couldn't keep up with it. And you everybody wanted more wages and more wages just to be able to bring them to hire, to be able to get somebody to come work for you. It used to be I could hire somebody between like $8 and $10 an hour, but by the time 2018, 2019 came around, I couldn't hire somebody for less than 15 and $20 an hour. And so we went from that economy to where not only was there wage growth for the low income, for the lower wages, but there was, for the first time in a very, very long time, there was a there was more jobs than people. And so that's something that I definitely that is definitely a conundrum in a lot of ways. So HUD's annual point in time survey found that the number of homelessness increased 18% this year and 36% since 2019. Local governments and nonprofits in January counted 771,000 living in public spaces, shelters, or other temporary government funded housing. So that doesn't include all of the homeless that are not being that aren't taking part in those programs. I wasn't taking part in any of the homeless programs, and a lot of times I kind of stood outside of the homeless community and rarely took services unless I went in to like get a shower, get laundry. But I never used shelter, and sometimes I would go for food, of course. But that I'm not. I wasn't counted as part of that 771,000. There's a lot more people like me out here than there are not. So 771,000 at one point in time doesn't really give an accurate picture. The agency admits what it calls a national affordable housing crisis, rising inflation, stagnating wages among middle and lower income households. Well, right there, they're trying to place the blame. Oh, it's not our fault. It's because, housing is going up. But we're going to find out exactly why housing was going up. And then, rising inflation, well, that's because of government policy. So all of these things, the government's saying it's not our fault, but yet they're the ones that are causing all of these, such as, the affordable housing crisis and rising inflation. Okay, so as the households had nothing to do with trillions of dollars the feds doled out during the pandemic and then Mr. Biden's watch, HUD also faults the persisting effects of systemic racism. Oh, wait, there we go. There's our new agenda. DEI, additional public health crisis, and natural disaster. Additional public health crisis. What additional public health crisis are they talking about? So HUD places essentially HUD places especially heavy blame on the expiration of pandemic programs. So once the free welfare went away, then homelessness went up. Well, that's because the buying power of the dollar went away. We started letting all these migrants come in and take all the jobs from the locals. So, including Democrats' expanded child tax credit and Mr. Biden's illegal eviction moratorium. They weren't calling it illegal back then. They were saying it needed to be done. So landlords did increase rents to compensate for tenants who didn't pay under the eviction ban. So these landlords, because the eviction ban happened, are now raising the wages, and they're now being passed on to everyone else. And so now the average man, because of government policy, and those that would try and take advantage of government policy, mostly the housed community, now everybody else has to pay the price for it, and it was the government who did this to begin with. And so this is going to be the legacy of the Biden administration. One culprit in a surge. One culprit is a surge in migration. New York City told HUD that migrant households accounted for nearly 88% of its increase in homeless living in shelters this year. Chicago reported that an influx of new arrivals, mostly migrants, bused and flown from other states, accounted for more than 13,600 people in emergency shelters. That's just in Chicago. 13,000 people in Chicago, 13,000 migrants. And those are taking away from people like me who would like to be able to get into a shelter, especially during the winter. But who's getting preferential treatment? Who's actually getting the treatment? It is the migrants. It is not the homeless. So now not only are the migrants getting preferential treatment, they're getting all this money, they're getting all these government benefits, but then they're taking from the people that have nothing. And then we're just supposed to sit here and be okay with it. I mean, I guess you guys could probably hear some of my frustration. While migrants have also flooded into Florida and Texas, these states seem to have absorbed them far better. Since 2019, the number of homeless has soared in Illinois by 15,000, California 35,000, New York 65,000, versus Texas, which is 2,000, and Florida, which is 3,000. Higher housing costs and unemployment in progressive states make it more difficult for migrants to support themselves. So what do? They get up and they move to a different part of the country where it's more affordable living, and then it makes it unaffordable for the rest of us who are native-born citizens who have a birthright to this country before any foreigner does. And they're pricing us out of our own market, out of our own country. And this is why we're expanding homelessness. This is why the homeless crisis is silently expanding, because they're slowly lumping a lot of these migrants into it, but they're not actually addressing the real issue. They're not showing that this is happening mostly to the native born, and that instead they're focusing on other things. So now here's one that really I kind of farm girl had to tell me to quiet down because I got really upset. But it says most of the increase in what HUD calls chronic homelessness owes to mental illness and drug abuse. So you guys know I got another channel that I've been working on. It's Your Personality HQ. If you want to know the channel, you got to go over to the community tab, and you can go over there and subscribe. But I actually did a video that will be released tomorrow morning, and I'll be talking about is drug addiction the cause of homelessness? Because so many people think that. And this is the propaganda that they keep putting down to us. That chronic homelessness owes itself to mental illness and drug abuse. Is that really what's causing homelessness, or is there another issue that's really causing homelessness? They just get funding for that, so therefore they're going to parrot that, because therefore they can get more money from the average Joe, from the government, and from the homeless industrial complex. Okay, so the progressives ignore such clear social ills and instead call for more spending on low-income housing, but such housing first policies have failed, as demonstrated by the rising number of homelessness in progressive states. Even Florida has in Gainesville, they have the housing first. And I've talked to you guys exactly how housing first really works. It's there for the seniors or for people that have money, but if you ain't got money, the housing first is not, it is definitely not there. So, HUD spends $72 billion a year, mostly on affordable housing. So those are rent vouchers. And progressive states spend billions more each year. California spent $24 billion to reduce homelessness in the past 5 years, but there are more homeless. The administration even granted California a waiver to use federal Medicaid funds to help the homeless obtain housing. Meantime, drug rehab centers in the state are closing because of inadequate government reimbursement. Is it really inadequate government reimbursement, or is it the fact that these people they're not being effective? All they're doing is contributing to the problem. They have a 5% success rate, and so therefore, all of the because they're not properly going through the process to really work with these people to get rid of their drug addiction. What they end up doing is it causes more stress on the lower services. Okay, so and this was from the Wall Street Journal. Okay, dear, you got that going forward. So let me go back and see what you guys had to say, because I saw a chat lighting up. I just hadn't had a chance to get to it. I wanted to get to the topic. What's up, Chris? What's up, Occult? What's up, Rails? What's up, Platypus? Malibu on fire now. Oh, I did not know that Malibu's on fire. What's up, Skate Punk? Sam's outside, Don. Cool rap lyrics, but you deleted them. Okay, Sam Dog. Yes, what's up, Platypus? Okay. Alternative living in the house. Okay, I don't understand what you mean by that. Okay, let's see here. Hi, Platypus. Okay. What's up, Kung Fu? What's up, Brian? Nice to see you. Let's see. I don't know how to all my friends out there. Okay, what's up? Um, okay, propaganda. Yes. Most of the stuff is propaganda. Kung Fu, living the dream. How about you, friend? Okay, propaganda. Okay. Um, Absolutely my pleasure. Okay. All right. All that article is clearly showing me is that nobody should ever trust any branch or party of government. Yeah, Occult, it's because this is why I have the four pillars. And before I get into it, just so you guys know, I am supported through crowdfunding. That is my tip jar, and that is memberships over on Patreon. I got something really cool I want to tell you about towards the end, but I really want to focus on this topic right now. But as I was talking about, my four pillars is one is the donor class, but the other is the political class, because both politicians on both sides of the aisle, plus government officials, will do anything they can to be able to get elected, retain power, retain their position. And if that means throwing the homeless under the bus, they're going to do that. So you got the left over there saying, "Oh yes, look at all these poor homeless. We need to help them. They're all drug addicts." Da, 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 da. Are we all drug addicts? No, we're not all drug addicts. I'm not a drug addict. Farm Girl's not a drug addict. I know a lot of you are not drug addicts that are homeless. So yes, you got to be a drug addict if you're homeless. No, 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 no. This is the left's way of parroting it, and then the right says, "Oh yeah, all we've got is these lazy bums who are drug addicts and mental health issues, and we just need to sweep them under the rug and get rid of them because they're nothing but lazy bums, and we just need to get them out of society." But you notice they're both basically saying the same thing. One is just turning. One is just inciting anger and resentment towards the homeless. The other one is trying to create compassion and empathy towards the homeless, but they're channeling that compassion and empathy to line their own pockets instead of provide any real solutions. Because if a politician supplied a solution, he would be out of a job, and that's the real that's the real part of this whole thing. So let's see here. I missed. Okay. Where I missed. Where's okay. So I hope that answers your question, Nicole. I hope that responds to it. It's by design, my friend. It is by design. Yes, it is by design. For a lot of reasons. But it also shows how society is broken. It shows how society is not really there to it shows it just You're right. You're 100% right, and I'll leave it at that. Um, it's just it's money laundering, and so like, what do we do? So as homeless, I'm homeless. Some of you are homeless. Some of you are empathize with the homeless and want to help the homeless. Some of you have been homeless and want to help the homeless. I mean, we all come in. We all come in different ways. So how do we solve this? It really boils down to education. We need to educate the donor class, okay? Um, by educating the donor class to letting them know, like, hey, when you put money towards something, even though you really believe in that cause, you really got to look at it from a cause and effect. What kind of effect are you going to have? So, for example, I was talking with Ayana today. I had my one of my meetings with her, like I do on Tuesdays, and we were talking about her program because she does a jobs program, and we were talking about how the wave of the future is to get people into the digital economy, and how do you get people into the digital economy? And so I'm talking to her about working with the local library so that I can create some sort of curriculum, so that I can start doing my part to start showing people how to cross pollinate from the brick and mortar, the brick and mortar jobs to the digital economy, and why it's important and how it's going to help them. And it will actually take a lot of people that may have not been able to get off the streets and give them an opportunity to get off of the streets, to be able to have that stability. But the thing is this is a long-term systemic change that needs to be made. But how do we get that change to start? How do we get people to start coming on board for these solutions? And a lot of it starts with education, educating the donor class, educating the political class, educating society of the myths of homelessness, because there's so many myths out there, such as only drug addicts go homeless, or only mental health people go homeless, or only criminals go homeless. And that's simply not true. That's a myth that keeps getting put to us, that we as individuals, we take hook, line, and sinker, and then therefore that forms our prejudice against the homeless. Because I know at one point in time I thought that the homeless were nothing but drug addicts and mental health, and as long as I wasn't a drug addict or had mental health issues, I would never be homeless. But that's not true. That's never been true. It's something that society tells us to give us hope that, oh, okay, I won't be homeless. And then if you are homeless, then they're going to shame you. They're going to make your life difficult and miserable until you get to a point where you're back to allowing them to fleece you and churn you for whatever dollar that they possibly can. And that's the real reality of homelessness. So I can't find anyone to work for me and wash dishes at my restaurant. Do you drug test for weed? Yes. There's your problem. Um, well, yeah. Well, first of all, if you're in the hospitality industry and you expect there not to be drugs, I mean, come on, cooks and waitresses. I mean, man, they'll go in the closet and shag, just for kicks, because they're bored and they got nothing better to do. I had a five-star sous chef tell me what really goes on in the hospitality industry. So to sit there and say, "Oh, well, I don't want anybody that smokes weed in my restaurant," means you're never going to have any employees, because your waitresses, they may not do anything else, but they may be white dopers, or excuse me, they may be drunks, they may be pill poppers, but they still seek some sort of fun and thrill. Same thing with the cooks. It's just because it's when you have to deal with society on such a large scale, like you do in hospitality and you do in sales, what ends up happening is, in order for you to be able to cope and deal with the stressors of it, you turn to some going on. Okay, we must have a lot of, sorry guys, I know I'm losing, there must be a lot of traffic on the network for some reason. What would be the best port to land in, Sam? Okay. Australia mariners are all on coke. They don't even consider it a drug anymore. Terrifying. Well, I remember 20 years ago, if I said I smoked weed, I was worse than a crackhead. Now it's like, oh, it's socially acceptable. I remember I remember a lot of discrimination I got for smoking weed, and so therefore, I ended up having to. Dear, will you keep posting? I end up having uh, to just kind of keep it quiet for a lot of years. It's only recently in the last 10 years that I've even been able to be open about it. Otherwise, nobody would know that I was doing it. No point typing in chaos if you're gonna skip the Anki thugs we actually sang to you, Tug. No point in typing, because if you're gonna skip the one things we actually sang, what am I missing there? Don't get mad at me. Tell me what I'm missing, because chat's going quick. Um, you know, okay. Well, hold on. Let me see. So, I can't find anyone to. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I don't see where I missed you there, platypus.
And I'm trying to get in top chat. I can't seem to get it to go to.
Oh, you can't get it to go to top chat either.
What's going on? Yeah, something's screwed up on it.
America has a hype hype energy today. I probably need a poop. Maybe. You know, I don't know. I don't know all about that, guys. All I know is, oh, okay, platypus. I'm trying to figure out like where I'm missing, because I know I miss stuff, and I really try to get your guys' comments.
It says top chat, and there's nothing that I can.
Okay, it won't.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know what to tell you then.
No, I know. It's a glitch.
Was just saying global construction, etc. Oh, okay. So, but you know, just the homeless issue itself is getting to a point where it's almost demoralizing. So, it's to a point where is it even fixable, or are we just spinning our wheels? We have so many things that are creating the homeless issue, while they sit there and blame us for it. You know, oh yes, it was because all those welfare recipients during COVID. Really, did the cold spill? No, it's just starting. Tomorrow and the next 3 days, it's going to get a couple of degrees above freezing for the high. It's going to be in the teens for the morning. So, but yeah, it's just like, it's not demoralizing, it's radicalizing. Yeah, I could see that, because there are going to be people like me that just get so frustrated. It's like there's nothing left to do. But also, on the same time, I'm looking at it going, there's there even me, I'm beginning, it's almost beginning to feel like it's hopeless. We've got an incoming president who's telling us that we're going into a Great Depression. We just came out of 4 years of one of the most destructive presidencies to our nation in our nation's history. I mean, even worse than Jimmy Carter or Obama. You know, I mean, we've had some bad presidents, but nothing to nothing as bad as what we've seen here, because we've got the crime cartel, also known as the Biden presidency, who they've been silently fleecing this country for their own profit and gain, and then writing themselves pardons so that they don't have to pay any consequences for robbing us, destroying our country. I mean, he's not just responsible for the money that he's taken. He's responsible for the cataclysm that he's created in so many Americans' lives. I mean, North Carolina and Hurricane Helene was just the straw that broke the camel's back. But there are so many people that were before him that are before that moment that have been completely destroyed because of the Biden administration. So we're not blaming him. It goes back to Reagan, but COVID made it worse. Hold on. I missed somebody. Okay. All right. So apparently, well, you guys might be seeing some of the chats that I'm not. Okay. So I don't know what's going on there. Because I don't see that comment from Amber. So Australia is exactly the same. So we're gonna blame Biden too. Babylon is falling, my friend. Yeah, but how do you survive Babylon? Really, that's the real question. How do you survive this crash? Because even the digital economy, I mean, I'm starting to see the overall. I'm starting to feel the crunch and everything else like that that's been going on with the with the economy, because it's directly affecting how I make my money, whether it be views, whether it be tips in my tip jar, whether it be memberships, or whether it just be people interacting with me. Um, I've noticed that I'm keeping my numbers going, but I can't seem to break through this ceiling. And as soon as I get up to a certain plateau, it's just like it all sinks back down. Um, um, you know, uh, uh, I just, it seems like as soon as it seems like you get good footing, it gets taken away from you. And this is really the life of the homeless. So if you've never been homeless or you don't know what homelessness is really like, look at it like this. Okay, I put $175 off to the side because that's how much I'd managed to save and not spend, so that I could save it for a rainy day, for something like that. What happens, not even a week later, maybe 10 days later, I'm in the hospital, all that money gone, to pay for gas to go back and forth, to pay for food while we were there, to pay for my medication, to pay for this, to pay for that. And before you know it, you're nickel and dime to death and you've got nothing left. And now, luckily I do have, some people that will help me if I need to, go get water for the dogs and for the goats and for us and stuff, to be able to offset what I lost. But the life of a homeless person is, as soon as it seems like you get to a point where you can breathe, the rug gets ripped out from under you, because you are the most vulnerable. The second it's like being on a smooth road, and the second you hit that bump, it jumbles everything up. And whereas when you're housed and when you have all that, when you have that stability, you don't you don't get that. When you hit that bump in the road, you feel it a little bit, but not nearly as much as somebody who is homeless. Because the homeless people, myself included, we are, when the wind changes, if you ain't got your ducks in a row, and if you ain't prepared for that wind to change, you're off in an even worse spot than when you started. So this is the scary part of being homeless. um Who's Amber? Because I don't see. Oh, okay, there we go. Amber, how is Trump going to fix homelessness? By putting tariffs on foreign nations. Actually, Amber, he just backed off of that. I was just going across an article that he's talking about backing off because BRICS has like over 40% of the global GDP. So, but Trump isn't going to fix homelessness. He has no intention of fixing homelessness. The only thing that Trump can do to fix homelessness, based upon him and his policies, is to get this economy back on fire again, and to get people back to work, and to give people hope again. People are losing hope. People are losing hope every day. And when you lose hope, you lose motivation. And when you lose motivation, you just, what is it? They call it apathy. And then once apathy sets in, then, it's just a downward spiral from then. So, and requiring domestic businesses to pay more money, resulting in wage cuts. Amber, I agree with you on this. I'm not a fan of Trump, and if you watched a video I did not too long ago, I was talking about the homeless camps that he's talking about and how bad of an idea it is. And honestly, it is in a lot of ways, it's declaring war against your own citizens when you do something like that. None of these politicians, not Trump, not Biden, none of these politicians. Now, I will say that when Trump came in 2016, we got a roaring economy. But can we get a roaring economy back? Well, not with the destruction that Joe Biden has done. So, I mean, Trump is a businessman. He knows how to get the wheels of commerce running. That's part of what being a businessman is. But if the environment is not there for him, it doesn't matter how good you are at raising money or how good you are at conducting commerce. It's just not going to be there. You see what I'm saying? So they should give yourself the security, my friend. Um, okay. Same here in America. Infrastructure aging and not refurbished. Okay. So okay. They should give yourself secure. Okay. People are making the mistake of still thinking they are part of the design moving forward. We are not required. We are superfluous. Humanity needs, according to ruling class, we are already free. Yes, because they can't control everything that we do, because there are laws that have been in place for anywhere from, a few decades to a few hundred years that really kind of that put the line between the ruling elite and what they can do to us, the general population. It goes all the way back to the Magna Carta. That's kind of when things started, or the medieval peasant rebellions. The ruling elite know that there's certain lines that they can't cross. But the thing is that they've dociled us and domesticated us so much that they are able to cross that line and then, rub our nose in it, because we as the general public are still taking it hook, line, and sinker, because we're still believing the propaganda and the BS that they keep feeding us. So, dude's a Trump bootlicker, blaming the poor and working class for his own issues, blaming migrants for situation. Apparently, Amber, you have not been listening. You're just here looking for things to pick at. So, Australian government is going to keep paying me taxpayers' money, probably even after I go to the dust in this field. It is a confusing, twisted joke. I don't know how they're paying you, but congratulations on that if it's help keeping you afloat. So, I mean, that's just one thing, one thing there. But anyways, guys, that is what I have to say on this subject. You guys know how to help the channel. Become a subscriber. Um, uh, yes, but they have no right to be here, Amber. Them coming here is what caused the problem, because they're putting stress on our housing market. They're putting stress on our public resources. They're putting stress on everything. Plus, they're getting, it's already been documented, they're getting $3,000 a month to jump the border illegally. And yet you've got people that are living on the streets who can't even afford a pot to piss in, who are harder workers and have more to offer this country than most of these migrants who refuse to learn our language, assimilate into our customs, and be a part of our society. So to sit there and defend them, you are part of the problem. So, but anyways, guys, thanks for being here. This is, you know how to help the channel. Leave a tip down in the tip jar. Come on over to Patreon. Join one of my many memberships, or become a subscriber. Make sure you share this content, because it helps me out as well. If you think that this stuff, please find my last comment. Well, let's see here. Chris, I hope in I lost hope in 2008. A lot of people in the comment section have a lot to learn about the world and understand that this world doesn't care about their feelings. No, it doesn't. That's why I say. But anyways, guys, like, subscribe, share, leave a tip down in the tip jar. I will see you tomorrow morning. So I know I'm late, but did you guys see where Trump said that he was trying to criminalize homelessness? Dark, no, but if you want to send me an email, friartuck@hobotuck.com, I'd love to read the article. I'll talk about it in my next video. Thanks for being here, guys. I will see you tomorrow morning.